All right, New York. New York, where are you? Okay, so we have
There,
some
the
new
Knicks.
acquisitions in the New York lineup. Uh,
I think the starting five for this team, of course, we know Brunson, Barrett, Randall, and Mitch Robinson. I think they're gonna be the starters. The question mark here is the shooting guard position. Will Tibbs not be Tibbs and start a younger player like Quentin Grimes? Because this one is RJ is a small forward, and I think it's Quentin Grimes versus Evan Fournier. That's the question mark at the starting five position. That's the only question mark in my opinion.
yeah. So who? I mean, I think yeah. Well, Tibbs is Tibbs, but there's so much. There's so much. That Quentin Grimes' name has come up a lot of times already. Not because of trade rumors, but because of New York not willing to trade him. So there's some expectations that he could start. He's not being drafted. So is Fournier. So this could be an opportunity if once you see this is a team to look to watch, I guess, when it comes to the preseason to see how they play or how Quentin Grimes fares, right? But it could be an early headache, right? Because most likely Fournier will not play the preseason.
Fournier will not play.
Yeah, we'll miss some preseason games. He's
Oh
old.
yeah, yeah,
He came from
yeah.
the Euro. I mean, I wouldn't be
Eurobasket,
surprised if
yes.
he won't totally play the preseason. Um,
Possible, yes.
so that would put more question marks. So heading into the early part of the season, this is the battle that we're gonna watch out for.
I
Quentin
think
Grimes and Fournier.
we have to. This is a team New York that we have to pay attention to training camp reports of their insiders of their news reporters and everything to find out more. The preseason games itself, I agree with you. We might not see Fournier a lot. We might not even see Randall a lot. Of course, Mitch Robinson will not see. So I'm not sure we can get a lot from the preseason because I would predict that Emmanuel Quickly, Quentin Grimes, Obi Toppin, they would be given a lot of minutes in the preseason. So maybe people pick them up because of what they will do, I'm sure, in the preseason, but I'm not 100% sure that that will translate when the regular season starts because Tibbs gonna be Tibbs. So I think it's more in the training camp. Listen, read, just check for any updates
Yeah.
about how these guys are doing there.
So Jalen Brunson is the best fantasy option now here in New York.
Yes, Jalen Brunson. Yes,
All right.
not Julius Randle.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson.
Um, the center position, another, I guess it's another not really a mystery, but most likely Mitchell Robinson starts. But this is also going to be intriguing because Mitchell Robinson is a very injury prone player, and Hartenstein is a very good fantasy player. And not just good in the sense that he can contribute big man stats, he can contribute across the board stats, maybe even better than Mitchell Robinson.
I think so. Mitchell Robinson. Well, the prime of Mitchell Robinson, I think, is still better than Isaiah Hartenstein in the sense that Mitchell Robinson, if he really plays, not get injured, he could be a double double
Last
at
year he
least
was
10 points.
okay. Mitchell Robinson was
Yeah,
okay last year.
10 points, maybe 12 rebounds, maybe 2 to 3 blocks easily. So that's still in fantasy blocks inflated. Inflates your ranking. So you'll rank higher than Hartenstein. But you're right. Hartenstein is not Nerlens Noel. For one, he's not as injury prone
No,
as
Nerlens Noel is maybe an
Bell.
older version of Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, this one Hartenstein gives him something different because Hartenstein can pass.
Yeah.
They can run the offense around him, and then in limited minutes last year, Hartenstein was always in the top 120 and 30. When he was given 18 to 20 minutes, he was almost top 120 because he steals, blocks, assists. He gives that at center position. The only reason that I don't really go out of my way to really draft Hartenstein is because of Tibbs again. We know I don't know I haven't heard anything about what Tibbs thinks of Hartenstein. I don't know. I don't know if that signing is because of Leon Rose, or because of the GM, or because of whoever, or is it because Tibbs wanted Hartenstein? I don't know that, and I'm worried about that because if Tibbs doesn't like you, well, Tibbs doesn't like you, unless
Yeah.
your name is Taj or Rose. We're not
Uh,
gonna be sure about that.
which is, of course, our favorite, Derek Rose. I mean, Hardenstein is probably one of the best backup centers or power forwards out there. Right? I mean, fantasy
Yeah,
wise, he just probably won't get enough minutes or enough uh, to be draftable fantasy wise. But probably within the season, he'll be picked up, you know,
yes.
considering that Mitchell
He
Robinson is not the healthiest.
Hartenstein is draftable. He's around out. He's rank 114 right now, and outside 120, he's gonna be picked. There will be people who will gamble on him because that's a time when you gamble already that range. He'll be picked, but I don't know if he's gonna stick in your roster though. He might be dropped
Yeah.
eventually when some poor games here
Yeah,
and
but
there, some 8-minute, 10-minute
if you're
games.
gonna
He
think
might be
about
dropped.
that, isn't that just a waste of a pick?
No, it's because we don't. If you're drafting now, we don't really know what his role was gonna be. But because of the upside, you have to at least risk it, and then see in the first few games how he performs. There's a chance. It's just that there's a chance that you might drop him again because there's a possibility that he gets limited minutes. Because remember, there's another guy that we haven't talked about here. That's Obi Toppin.
Yeah.
Obi, people are saying
Another
bust, bust,
guy
bust.
that's not being helped by Fibs.
Yes. Obi Toppin, if the Laurie Markkinen trade just happened in a different dimension, and it was the Donovan Mitchell coming to New York, Obi Toppin would be, I think, gonna be picked in the top 100. I'm gonna say it right. Right. If he went to Utah instead of Laurie Markkinen, Obi would be top 100 instead of Laurie Markkinen because that's he's good. He showed that last year when Randall missed a couple of games
Yeah.
in the garbage silly season time. He showed it. And will that be enough for Tibbs to play him over Randall? No. But will that be enough for him to get even at least more minutes? Possibly. So uh I think that's another wrinkle that can hurt Hartenstein. What if Tibbs starts to play top in at center with Randall, right? That's
Yeah.
possible. So
Who
there.
do you think will surprise us the most? Probably somewhat of a sleeper player here.
Well, I don't
Is
know
it
if you consider.
Grimes?
Yeah, do you consider Grimes a sleeper anymore? But I guess he's the sleeper because he's not being picked. So there are a lot of possible breakouts here. I could put IQ Manuel quickly because Tibbs talked about him. I talked about giving him more minutes and giving him more
That
roles, a
might just
bigger
be a
role.
decoy, so that we
Possibly,
won't
but
talk about Derek Rose. But
I can easily see this lineup of New York being out of the playoff hunt and Tibbs getting fired around February. I can see that. And when that happens, a lot of players here, we talked about Grimes, IQ, Toppin, Hartenstein, these guys, even Miles McBride, these guys will suddenly become very, very popular and very, very appealing by that time. Maybe not during draft season, but I can foresee it. And we're going to go back to this episode when that happens. It can easily happen that, look at the Eastern Conference, how deep, how good it is, and look at how New York and the GM and everybody wants to win already, and look at this lineup. It's just not possible for them to contend. So yeah, that could happen. I
and
can
is it
easily see that
safe to
happen.
say that Randall could be the bust guy here, or are you looking at other
Yes.
players?
I'm going Randall. I'm going Randall with the bus. RJ Barrett is being overdrafted though. I think I've seen people go as high as 80s with 90s. Although his rank lower in Yahoo, but I've seen a couple of drafts that he's going higher. Barrett's holes in his fantasy game is still there. He can score very good. He can really score, but come on, the field goal, the free throws, the threes are not yet that high.
Don't
Can't
let that.
steal, can't block.
Maybe
So
maybe lots of managers were influenced by that new contract that RJ Barrett signed a couple
yeah,
of
no,
weeks
no, no, no.
ago.
Too high for me. I think if you pick him in the 80s or 90s, then he's gonna be the bust of this team. But if you didn't and you picked Randall in the
Randall,
top 50,
Randall, where do you pick Randall? 80s or lower?
80s, 80s, 80s. I think Randall will be top 80 best case scenario. If you count everything, I'm not talking about if you punt this, punt that. Of course, he's gonna go up if you punt maybe the percentages, but top 80 is more or less his range. So if he's there at the 80s, which he never is anyway, then maybe you can consider him. If not, let other people pick him
Yeah.
and deal with him.